Batista is there with us as well. And in Anderson, Indiana, the Colts will be on the practice field, but Andrew Luck will not. Stacey Dale's telling us that the Colts quarterback will be out again for the Colts today. We'll check in on his health momentarily. And a beautiful Saturday for football here in Santa Clara, California. Practice number 7 for the San Francisco 49ers is on the way, and we will have it for you live. All that as we welcome you here to a fresh hour and a fresh edition of Inside Training Camp Live, presented by State Farm here at 49ers camp today. I am Rhett Lewis here with my man, our former wide receiver, James Jones. James, what's going on, brother? You ready to roll?
Man, I'm ready to rock, ready to go.
Tell you what, I was out here yesterday, and there's some receiver competition going on with this group. A couple of rookies, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurd, and maybe the fastest guy in football, Marquise Goodwin. So I'm excited to watch these guys compete
This is my
today.
type of camp right here. Whenever you say wide receivers, I'm in the right spot. So we're going to check them out today.
Well, we are going to check in with MJ Acosta. She's here with us. We'll check in with Cynthia Freeland. She's here with us as well. But first, let's get down to Davie, Florida, where the Dolphins are on the practice field today. Judy Batista will be joining us shortly. She had a chance to chat with Christian Wilkins. We'll hear some of those interviews coming up. But there's a look at the guy, maybe the most intriguing player in all of Dolphins training camp right now. It's number 3, Josh Rosen. Remember, just a couple of days ago, Brian Flores made no bones about it. Ryan Fitzpatrick was, in fact, leading that quarterback competition. And maybe that's to be expected. He's a veteran guy. He knows what it takes to be successful in an offense, at least in short spurts, as we saw in his different spots. But I thought today, interesting that Brian Flores really complimenting Rosen's progress, James.
Yeah, and he just got there. So, it's a learning curve for him. learning a whole new system, learning your wide receivers, trying to get the chemistry down with those guys. So I think it's going to take some time before you really see, how special Rosen could be. But listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he has been through this rodeo plenty of times. So he goes out there and he just slings it. He really has nothing to lose. He's in the latter end of his career. If he goes out there and he's a starter, that's fine. If he's the backup, that's fine as well. But Josh Rosen has all the pressure on him, so it was probably early in camp. You probably could see that, and he's probably settling down now, making some throws and things like that, probably getting comfortable with the wide receivers.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, this is going to be his job.
Well, it'd be exciting to see. Obviously, they traded a second-round pick to the Arizona Cardinals to bring Rosen in. Then, of course, after the Cardinals made Kyler Murray the number 1 overall pick a year ago. So, this is what'll be interesting is, we talk about the quarterbacks, but, who are they throwing to out there? Devontae Parker, first-round pick of this team with the Dolphins a few years ago, but it's time, right?
Yeah.
It's time to see something there.
Yes, I think this is a make-or-break season for him because, you still have Kenny Stills over there, and, he'll make some plays, but you need another guy on the opposite side of him. And, you were drafted in the first round. It's your time to show up and make some plays, or I think this will be his last year as a Dolphin. But he's a big body on the outside that you see flashes of greatness. You see him go up on top of people, moss people, make some great catches, and then the next time,
those
flashes, it's just inconsistent. So if he can get consistent, making some plays, I think he can have a big time year.
And Albert Wilson was a pretty big free agent acquisition for the Dolphins last offseason, and he showed some flashes as well before getting hurt and missing the latter part of the year for the Dolphins. And hey, if there's one thing that can be that's comforting for a guy like Josh Rosen or Fitzpatrick as a quarterback is, man, you do not have to worry about that left side of the offensive line. Laramie Tunsil has established himself as one of the better left tackles in football. That's a little sense of comfortability there for these two quarterbacks.
Absolutely, and let's help these quarterbacks out too, and let's run the ball.
How about Kenyon Drake and Kalen Ballage?
Let them run the ball. Let's establish the run. Let's make it easy on these quarterbacks. Let's get some man-to-man coverage so when these defenses come in, they game plan to stop our run game, and then we could get Kenny Stills, we could get Devontae Parker, Albert Wilson on some man-to-man coverage. And let me tell you something, Albert Wilson with the ball in his hands, I know he was hurt last year, missed a lot of time, but him with the ball in his hands, he is a special electric player with the ball in his hands. So I'm sure they're going to try different ways to get him the ball so he could be special.
And as you remember, Kenyon Drake on the receiving end of one of the most electric plays we saw in the entire season last year, which was that kind of Hail Mary situation against the Patriots that won the Dolphins that football game. And Kalen Ballage is interesting. Was a rookie last year out of Arizona State. And Michael Fabiano has him as one of his sleepers this year. And because, it's interesting because Chad O'Shea is the offensive coordinator now, came over from New England with Brian Flores, and you know how they use, backs for different roles and different responsibilities. So we might see a lot of both of those guys in Drake and Balaj.
Absolutely. And then that's another thing, man. You got two good running backs who can catch the ball out the backfield. So, I know we always say where's the second and third wide receiver and things like that. But, I mean, one of these running backs could possibly have over 50 catches and be a big part of this passing game, to be able to help these quarterbacks and get the ball out of these quarterbacks' hands fast. So I'm excited. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Josh Rosen's job, and I just hope he takes control and takes advantage of this opportunity, man, to be able to be a starting quarterback.
Well, it's interesting because, if things don't go well, you might find yourself in the same situation you were in Arizona last year, because are the Dolphins going to be afraid to draft a quarterback if they end up, with a disappointing season and in a position to do that?
Well, I'm hoping when they
let's hope we don't get there.
When they traded for him, I'm hoping that don't rush it. Like he's still a young guy. If he's not ready, that's fine. Just let him practice, let him develop. If he has to sit behind Fitzpatrick for some games or a season, and then come in the next season, 2 years in the system, and really able to go through his checks and without even thinking and things like that. But I still think you need to treat him as a rookie. It's okay not to rush him in the ball game. It's okay for him to sit and watch Ryan Fitzpatrick and just study and read defenses, so when it's his time, he's ready to go.
Yeah, and look, whoever ends up as the starter for the Dolphins, look, the first quarter of the season might be an exercise in patience. Talking about opening the season against Baltimore, pretty darn good defense there, right? Despite some of the turnover they've had on that side of the ball. Against New England, right? And then they finish up the first quarter going to the Cowboys.
Oh, man.
And then getting the Chargers.
Oh my goodness.
Before a bye week, right?
Oh my goodness.
So
you can't see my face right now, but oh man. So with you rolling off that, I hope it is Ryan Fitzpatrick at the quarterback position, and let Josh Rosen just study, let him continue to progress, and when it's his time, put him in.
It is interesting because there is a natural kind of insertion point for Rosen if he doesn't start the season. It's right after that bye week in week 6.
There we go. That's when I'm putting it in, man. Not saying there's any game in the National Football League that's easy, but let's help him out.
Yeah, no question. All right, we're going to stick down there in Davie. When we come back, we will talk with head coach Brian Flores, his first year as the head man, and then also Ryan Fitzpatrick joining Judy Batista. All ahead here on Inside Training Camp Live, presented by State Farm.
Inside Training Camp Live is presented by State Farm.